Good evening. Welcome. Well done. You're here. Another healthy moment together. So it's time to relax, settle in to this moment. Ask yourself how you are. How's your day been? How are you feeling? And so just taking that moment just to check in with yourself. Body beginning to rest, becoming still, stilling those legs, relaxing those legs. Toes, stop them twitching, resting your arms, resting your hands, still fingers, ceasing all movement, and breathe. Nice deep breath. And to be thankful to God for the breath, the simplest of movements and yet full of life, full of potential. Every breath to be thankful for. And then coming of course to the mind in this moment, bringing the mind into this moment and leaving the cares outside for now. They will still be there in 15-20 minutes time. You can go and pick them up then if you wish, but for now leave your cares at the door. And we come, and whatever our emotional state, whatever has affected us today, people, circumstances, unexpected news, or even just the same old chores, maybe getting you down even emotionally, well, ask yourself these two questions. First, should I be reliant upon the actions of others to power my behavior and to determine my emotional well-being? And second, should I rely on external circumstances, things that I cannot control, to determine how I feel inwardly? For most, normal routine has been suspended, right? Severely disrupted. And disruption right now is not something that we're very happy about, but something that we have to do to stay at home, to stay safe. And many of us will be thinking, well, I just want this season to be over. And for good reason, because many of us need to get back to work and take up responsibilities and earn some money, etc. But at the same time, you see, this set of circumstances is out of our control. And so, whilst it might present challenges, additional challenges to you or not, the reality is you have to make peace with it. You have to rest in it. And you have to find your peace within these restrictions. You see, we can be tempted just to want to push past, hurry through, and wait for the next season to come. But maybe there's opportunity here. And in a sense, we must expect disruption. And it's good to set your expectation that things will happen that are out of our control, uncomfortable, unavoidable sometimes. And if we set our expectations that this is the case, this is the reality of the world, then actually we can save ourselves a whole load of disappointment when the world doesn't behave how we would hope that it would. And in fact, by doing these things, we find ourselves a little closer to reality. You see, we can become dissatisfied when our expectations or hopes are not realized. We can be disappointed with our families, with people, with our marriages, with our husbands, wives, children, friends, jobs, even God. We can become disappointed. But resetting our expectation to live closer to the reality is better for our emotional inward well-being. Not to catastrophize, not to expect the worst all the time, but just be real about how much people can give how much you can rely upon them. You know, how perfect your husband or wife can be. Be real about that, because none of us are perfect, right? That's why Christ needed to come. And so, in another sense, this is why knowing the scriptures is key to understanding the world that we live in, the people that surround us, and the God who created it. Especially the scriptures are key to understanding God, because an incorrect understanding of God, again, it produces disappointment. And we begin to invent our own God, a God of our own making, a God that serves our impulses. But that God actually doesn't exist. So we read the Bible, we realize that often behind the disruption, behind the uncomfortableness, is God, either bringing these things so we learn, or allowing them, permitting them. If we think about Abraham, for example, he was given a great promise, an amazing promise. But God also disrupted his life. Abraham's comfortable life at home with his family, with his father, was disrupted when God sent him packing and said, "Hey, get out of here, Abraham. Take responsibility for your wife and children and leave." And his life got more complicated. Or take Moses as a case in point. We've looked at Moses before. He was offered a rescue package by God. "I've come down to rescue my people," God says. Yet 10 disruptive plagues later, where are they? Still in Egypt, in a whole load more trouble. Or what about the great prophet Isaiah and his amazing promise of the Prince of Peace coming into the world? And he said this to a defeated, exiled people under foreign, worldly rule. And when Isaiah uttered these words, it was about 700 years before the incarnate Christ came and walked on the face of the earth as the Prince of Peace. Kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? And then Jesus turns up, right? And he doesn't fix things instantly. Instead, another promise that he was coming back to finish the job. And here we are 2,000 years later, and still we wait for the job to be finished. And in the meantime, global disruptions persist: wars, famines, earthquakes, pestilences. So we must reset our expectation on what it meant, what it means when Jesus promises peace. Because it's not peace as the world expects it. In fact, the root word in Hebrew for peace is well known. It's shalom. And it has a much richer meaning than the English word peace. Not merely the absence of conflict or turmoil, but a positive blessing, especially living on good terms with God. It's the idea that all is well. All is well with my soul. And we know this despite, even amongst the persecutions and the tribulations. So how about trying this for tomorrow? First of all, be thankful for whatever makes your life easier, and somehow express that in some way. Maybe in a prayer, maybe to your husband or wife or to a friend. Expression of thanks. And second, be helpful to have around. What do I mean by that? Don't do or say things that will make life more difficult for you or those around you. There's an exception to that. If you're sticking up for righteousness or justice, because surely that's where God is too. And the third thing is, be confident. What do I mean? In this way, by living out a thankful life, and being helpful, when hard times come, and they will or have, you can be confident that the trouble is not here by your invitation of foolishness or rebelliousness, but for some other reason that you cannot control, but God can. And you have placed yourself on his side. And so this is where I find peace. When I know, although I'm not perfect, and none of us are, that's why Christ came, we've done all we can to place our side to put ourselves on the side of God. And then we have rest, because we can trust that whatever comes along, God knows about and he can deal with. You remember Joshua, we looked at a couple of weeks ago, when he met the commander of the Lord's army, and Joshua said, whose side are you on? And I kind of turned that around and said, Joshua, the question is, whose side are you on? And whose side am I on? And so, we take a moment and we come to our meditation. And I just want to give you a moment's silence, because I've said a lot in a short amount of time, and just to bring your mind focused on the Lord and on the prayer. Let's just take that moment now. And so for our meditation prayer, I want to stay with Isaiah, the call to wait. This is Isaiah 40, and this is the Message version. But those who wait upon God get fresh strength. But those who wait upon God get fresh strength. Father, in this moment we choose to wait for you. Where many despair, the old and the young alike, you are our help. And those who wait upon God get fresh strength. And so in this moment we choose not to be those who grow weary of doing good, because we understand from the scriptures that in due time all this will pass. Yet our hope and reward in you is a certain thing. It cannot perish. It will not spoil. It does not fade. And those who wait upon God get fresh strength. Our waiting is not simply a passing of idle time. It is full, pregnant with hope and expectation set on God. As Jesus said, nations will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. But those who wait upon God get fresh strength. The soaring eagle is borne aloft not by the effort of flapping wings, but by the efficient spread of its wing. Effortlessly, powered by the wind's lift upwards. And those who wait upon God get fresh strength. And so, in this place, Father, fill us once again with strength to continue. Wherever we are weak, in body, in mind, in soul, in emotion, in our relationships. Strengthen us, O Lord God, in this moment with strength to continue in hopeful, expectant waiting. And so in all our circumstances, Lord God, we choose to wait for you. Choosing to do that which is most helpful for ourselves and others. Resetting expectations in reality as your word clearly outlines. Jesus, you were the one that said, I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And those who wait upon God get fresh strength. And so, my friends, until next time, practice these moments of staying, of choosing God's side, returning to what is eternal, living in the upper story, and waiting in a place where strength is given. Make it a daily rhythm, especially in these days. Begin a new healthy habit. And just maybe, when you leave this moment, you won't be so quick to pick up the worries and anxieties of the day. God bless you. See you on Friday.